Hey, what's up, guys? Houston here. Let me ask you, why is it so hard to get an SBA loan? If you feel me, give me a thumbs up, because I've gotten the SBA loan, the EIDL loan, okay? But it's so many things that they want from you to get an SBA loan. Now, understanding that the easiest SBA loan is what? The SBA Express loan, all right? Now, here's the challenge about it. If you get an SBA loan and your business is not making any money, how do you get out of it, right? Do you have to pay the money back? I'm going to be answering those questions because I think if most people understand how to get the loan, how to get out of the loan, it'll be more beneficial. And who can actually even qualify for an SBA loan? Because remember, they just passed the law, like if they can get an SBA loan. Most people are not even aware that ex-cons can get an SBA loan, right? Now, another thing about it is what type of business you in. This is the number one thing that keeps people from getting an SBA loan, because they have the wrong NAICS code. Not only that, getting an SBA loan, this is the same NAICS codes that will actually keep you from getting business funding as well. All right. Now, we talk about like a restaurant. You can get an SBA loan for a restaurant. But when it comes to traditional banking and stuff, because it's a high risk, it'll make it more challenging. So in terms of, instead of using a restaurant, here's a key. You want to be in the food production business, all right? You want to be in the food distribution business. You don't want to be a restaurant, all right? So in terms of when you're trying to get funding and stuff, you're in the food distribution business. You're not a restaurant, all right? That's one key, all right? Another thing, in terms of when you're selling like ammunition, anything that's dealing with artillery and stuff like that, high risk NAICS code. All right, so they don't want to deal with that. What about if you're into CBD oil? You're trying to do holistic healing or whatever, right? So, but you use CBD oil. What about marijuana? High risk NAICS code. So they're not going to give you funding for that, right? So now you have to choose, all right, what do I do to replace this NAICS code and stuff? So for those type of things, it does take more detail. So you have to click the link in the description, schedule a one-on-one consultation for it, and I'll go over it with you. But besides that, all right, they got consultation. Why is consultation such a big challenge? Because you're just living out of a briefcase, right? Anybody can be consulting or whatever. In terms of the type of consulting and stuff like that, it can be a high risk NAICS code. All right. So most people, when they're trying to get business funding and stuff, they're like, well, I got this type of business. Why is transportation a high risk NAICS code? Right. And the thing about it, most transportation, like 18-wheeler over the road transportation now, those type of businesses usually go out of business within a year to 2 years. OK, because you can't control the overhead expenditures of it. Right. So that's the reason, like, you can't control fuel costs. You can't control, like, if you blow a tire or whatever. It's just certain stuff. Or you can't control the different fees in each state. So this is the reason why sometimes it can be challenging trying to get an SBA loan for this type of business. So these are the things that you need to understand so that you can put you in a better position. Now, say that you're doing like what do they call it? Hot shotting. Or say that you're doing like a carrier type of business or whatever, you can get an SBA loan for that. Now, the collateral is the equipment of it, but at the same time, you're able to get an SBA loan for it, all right? So these are the things you have to understand. Another high-risk NAICS code when it comes to SBA, like if you say, I made a video and I was telling you about like ATM machines, right? In terms of ATM machines, again, they look at that type of thing because of the possibility of money laundering, right? That's the main thing about it. It's not in terms of like with an ATM business or whatever, you have to buy multiple machines, and so it can cost thousands of dollars, but your daily transactions is very minimum. So it'll take a long time to repay that back. But the bigger thing that they're looking at is because it's like money lending, right? And so with money lending, it comes into money laundering and stuff like that. So that can be a high-risk NAICS code, all right? And there's other high-risk NAICS codes, but those are some of the ones you have to keep in mind. So choosing the right NAICS code for your SBA loan really makes the difference. Now, the things that the SBA lenders want you to have, they want you to have a business plan, okay? They want you to know how much money you need. What do you need the money for? Okay, so you're going to be needing the money for what? You're going to be needing the money for advertisement, to buy more inventory, product, and growth. Right? Those are the things, those are the key things that you want to tell them that you need the money for. All right? Like, even like with real estate is high risk type of business. That's the reason, like, you may have a portfolio of real estate or whatever, but more than likely it'll be very challenging for you to get an SBA loan for it. All right, it's just too high of a risk. It's still gambling to a lot of financial institutions as well as the SBA lenders and stuff like that. So you just got to keep that in mind. And so in terms of like when you're dealing with real estate and people talking about, well, you know, I'm going to be a real estate development and stuff, then you're going to have to look at hard money lenders for that. You wouldn't go to the SBA or to HUD or something unless you're going to buy. Now, this is one thing you can do. You can go into, like, if you want to buy multifamily units and stuff, you can look into the HUD dollar program. So they have multifamily units, and then they'll loan you a loan to rehab the property and stuff like that. So you can do it that way. But in terms of you saying, oh, I'm going into real estate or whatever, no, they won't work with you. Okay, it makes it very challenging. Okay, the reason I know, because we have real estate and stuff like that, and I remember going through all the paperwork and stuff, watching my aunts and uncles and stuff going through all of this and the challenges, because they didn't know, you know, and they had to get that HUD loan in order to finish out the property and stuff like that. But at the same time, they just didn't know, right? So I'm just sharing with you some of my experiences with my family buying real estate and stuff. I know it can be challenging and stuff, and trying to find the right lenders and stuff like that can definitely be more challenging and stuff. What about credit score? Now, here's the interesting thing about it. A lot of times, like, you can have a fair credit score. So if you about a 600, 620 credit score, that work with you. Now, remember, guys, I keep telling you all about the banks reporting to the business credit bureaus. And one of the things I always tell you, that one of the major business credit bureaus is the Small Business Financial Exchange. Okay, they're the godfather because they're the ones that's connected to the SBA. So when the SBA is looking at your business model, if you have an open bank account and stuff, that's the reason it's important to choose the right bank. Like I said, with your community banks and credit unions, they don't report business transactions and stuff to the major credit bureaus. That's the reason you have to go to banks like Capital One that report to Small Business Financial Exchange, Experian, Equifax. Citibank, Experian, Equifax, Small Business Financial Exchange, shared with Dun & Bradstreet. Chase, Experian, Equifax, Small Business Financial Exchange, shared with Dun & Bradstreet. This is the reason I'm telling you this, because a lot of people, they're not even aware. They're like, well, you know, I have a Blue Vine. People think that although Blue Vine does report to Dun & Bradstreet, a lot of lenders does not recognize Blue Vine as a banking institute. That's right. So they make it very challenging. So even though you have Blue Vine or you may have Square and stuff, those are not major banks. They do not report to the major business credit bureaus. Okay. Now, you heard me mention Dun & Bradstreet, but 90% of financial institutions, they don't rely on your Dun & Bradstreet score. They actually look at Experian, Equifax, and Small Business Exchange. Okay. So that's the reason that you really need to pay attention in terms of what is the best financial institute for you to go with. Now, if you have a community bank, if you have a credit union, I would tell you do not dissolve them. Keep those. But at the same time, you need to open up one with the major financial institutions, because those are the ones that would help you get access to business funding, especially when you're trying to deal with SBA. Now,